Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Roslyn, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the bell so you can get notifications on when I upload. And so, as the title suggests, we're going to talk about something I've been meaning to talk about for a very long time. We're going to talk about my first semester of grad school. This is just everything I experienced as far as like class-wise. Like a lot of the other stuff that I experienced in that first semester I'm going to make separate videos for, but this is just like as far as like school and class and things like that. I'm wearing this scarf because underneath here is not okay, and I like you guys enough not to want to subject you to that. So this is what we got. And shout out to all my brothers at Alpha Phi Omega serving it up. Oh, do it on side. Serving it up. So yeah, let's just dive in. As I've mentioned many times, I just finished my first semester. I started grad school of the spring of 2017. So that was my first semester. And I'm from Maryland, as again I've stated many times, and I came all the way to Wisconsin to go to the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point. And so there was a lot of things. So let's just start with my first day of class. Well, no, not my first day of classes. When I first met with my advisor when I moved to Wisconsin, and that's when we sat down and made my schedule, and I got registered and all that fun stuff that goes with starting a new school. And so I took 13 credits, which equals maybe about 4 classes. I took recreation site design, which was actually taught by my advisor. I took advanced topics of urban forestry. Wow. And that class in itself, I just feel that class is going to have a special place in my heart, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I took nature center and camp management, and then I took seminar, and then I took another class, natural resources, $7.99. And that class is essentially like my research. So everything I was doing as far as like working on the surveys and getting everything ready for the summer, that's what that class is for. So I really don't even count that as a class. So getting into it. So we made that schedule, and so my first day of classes, so I only had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which was awesome. So I had Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays kind of to myself. Well, not really Fridays, because I met with my advisor in the morning for my $7.99 class. So, but other than that, Fridays were to myself, and I could work on stuff and kind of had free time to kind of collect my thoughts and kind of decompress. And so my first day was on a Tuesday, and I can only describe the feeling as my first day of my freshman year of college. Like, that's exactly how I felt. I felt so many emotions. I was happy, but I was also scared shitless. Like, I was terrified of everything I was experiencing. There was multiple times throughout the day I wanted to cry, not because I was sad or because I was just so overwhelmed with everything I was seeing and experiencing and hearing. It was just so much, I wanted to cry. So my first class of that day was my recreation site design, and that was cool. It was kind of like your basic, it was a slash class, which means I was taking the class with undergrad students. So the format of the class was something I was very similar to. So it wasn't anything new. I will say, going into grad school, I had no idea what to expect. Like, I had no speculations of what classes were going to be like. And so that was kind of nice that it was something I was familiar to. Because I was a grad student, I had to do a lecture later on in the semester, but that was like the only difference between me and my undergraduate classmates. And so that was kind of like something I was familiar to. It felt normal. And then my next class of the day, seminar. And seminar was different, and it kind of was like my first, like, I dipped my toe into what being a grad student looked like. And so seminar, it wasn't like a class like you would expect a class. What we did is talked about articles, and the one thing I really did learn in seminar was how to be a critical reader. And so it's one thing to read for understanding, like you read something, you understand what that thing is saying, but it's another thing to be able to critique and question and really analyze what is being given to you to read, which is something I had no experience doing, and I really had to learn while I was in that class. One of my assignments, there were like 2 written assignments we had to do, and one of them was writing a critique on a paper of our choice. And so that was really hard for me, and I think it's still something I'm learning how to do, is actually like analyze and critique, because I feel like I have this mindset, like if it got published and it's peer reviewed, I accept it for truth, and I don't really question it. And so that's something I learned how to do in that class. But that was really like a chill class. Like once those 2 assignments were done, we were broken up into groups. I forget how the groups were like determined, and this is why I wish I did this video earlier so I could remember details like that. But broken out into groups, and we picked an article, and it was given to the class, and it was that group's job to lead discussion on that article. And so that was really, like, I enjoyed that. It's funny, the article my group did was actually written by a professor I'd had back at Frostburg, which I didn't realize until, like, as I was reading, I was like, oh, this sounds like something that this professor would say. And then, like, I looked at who wrote it, and I was like, duh. And so that was seminar. I really liked seminar because my professors were very chill, and like everyone there they were grad students, and so I kind of got a sense of what grad school looked like, and we were all at different levels. There were some people who, like me, well, there was me who was just starting, and then there were people who were like in their 2nd semester or their 3rd semester, or about to defend their thesis. And so it was a nice mix, and I got to see and meet different people. So that was seminar. Then on Thursdays, I again had my site design, but then I had nature center and camp management, which is also slash class. So I had it with undergrads, and it's really different. It was a really different experience because everyone was very nice in the class, but there was like a group of people who, like, I don't want to use the word immature, but they would like talk and make jokes while the professor was talking. And I was like, is this normal? Like, I had never experienced anything like that. Not even like when I was in undergrad, like that just wasn't done. And like, maybe it was just like that, like mindset of that major or that group of people. But like it was, and I know it wasn't just me who noticed. I definitely know the professor noticed, and I know other people in the class noticed. So that was a very strange feeling. But again, it was a slash class. So again, very familiar. There were no exams in that class, so that was kind of a relief. And I had worked in the nature center and camp background for many, many years. And so it wasn't really anything new, but it was just kind of a refresher, as well as I learned how to write a grant. Like, that was the one takeaway I had from that class. And then there was advanced topics of urban forestry. And the reason why that class has a special place in my heart is because I have no background in forestry. I have never taken a forestry class ever a day in my life. Like, it just never, I was never required. I could have, but I was never interested or had a want to. And so I was taking this class, and my advisor had talked to the professor before I had even got there, and kind of got the okay and told the professors a little bit about my background, and they were like, you know, she'll fit right in. This was like a real immersion of what grad classes are like. What the class was, there was no like, my professor got up in front of everyone and kind of taught us about things, and we took a test that required us to regurgitate that kind of information. No. What it was is, so the first week, it was kind of like the first day, it was kind of like, hi, these are the professors, and this is the class, this is what grades, like all that fun stuff you would read on a syllabus day essentially. And then we got to pick a topic. Like, he gave us a list of topics, and we got to pick which one we were interested in. In hindsight 2020, I think the reason why wildlife and urban forestry was an option is because of me. And so that was there, and we kind of we picked articles, like 4 or 5 articles, 3 to 5 actually, based on that topic, and we submitted it to the professors. They gave it the green light, And then when it was your week, everyone in the class was required to read your articles, and then you would lead discussion. And so I did urban wildlife and urban forestry. There was also topics on soils, volunteers, the services of trees, topics like that, things that I never thought about in my life as actually being like real topics were there. And so I learned a lot in that class. I did my first like real research project in the class, because that was another thing we had to do in the class, was we designed our own research project, executed over the time of the semester, and then presented at the end of the semester. And then the only thing written part about it was our abstract. And so that was just a big learning experience in itself. And so that's what my classes were like. I did good. My first semester I got straight A's. I was really proud of that. But if I had to describe it in like how it felt, it wasn't hard. I will say that. I don't feel like it was hard. Like, it was a lot of work. Like, the bulk of the number or the amount of work that was required of me was a lot. But it wasn't hard work. It wasn't anything where I felt like I couldn't do it. And so that was the first like big thing I took away from my first semester. It's a lot of work, but it's not necessarily hard. I felt weird a lot because I felt very young. And what I mean is, like, a lot of the people I met and like friends, well, not friends I made in grad school, but like a lot of the people I knew who were grad students were older than me. Like, one of the guys I shared an office with, who's I feel like I was closest to out of the two, he's like close to 30, and at the time I was 22 and just about to turn 23. And like, here I am, and like, he had worked in the field of which he was studying for a couple years, and like, I had just graduated college. And so I felt very awkward, where I felt like I was in limbo. Like, I wasn't an undergrad anymore, but I definitely wasn't at that place as the other grad students. And I've come to understand, like, that's normal. I realized that nothing I was feeling was like weird. It may have been new to me, but it wasn't like I'm the only person who's ever felt this way. No, I realized that everyone who has done anything new has felt the same way I felt. And looking back, I wish I had some of that, like, I don't know, that wisdom under my belt that I have now, because it probably would have saved me a lot of stress. So along with actually going to school, there are a lot of firsts that I went through at that time in my life. It was my first time living alone, and that was kind of like that real big problem. Like, I felt like that was the hardest part for me, because never in my life had I been alone. Even though it was very rare I had a roommate, I always had like really close friends who are always around, or, you know, something like that. But I lived in a dorm, and so we were all kind of confined to this small area where you kind of had to get along, and not necessarily get along, but make friends, and it kind of forced you to make connections. I live in an apartment off campus, and so I didn't have kind of that catalyst to make friends like I'd had all throughout my other college experiences. And so that was kind of hard for me to cope with. And I'm very grateful, because one of my seminar professors, she was a godsend, because I met with her and I kind of just talked to her, and I had my first, and I'm gonna get emotional, but I had my first real like heart-to-heart from someone who wasn't my mom or my boyfriend or my best friends, like someone who was here, like physically here with me in Wisconsin, and like just being able to express how I felt. Oh my god. And just to kind of oh, sorry, there's a motorcycle outside. But just to be able to sit down and have a conversation with someone, a physical face-to-face conversation about everything I was feeling at that time, was much needed. Like, I realize now, like, that's really what I needed. And I think that was kind of like the turning point of my first semesters, where when I didn't feel so alone, I felt like I had someone here who was kind of rooting for me, even though I knew I had my advisor, and she's awesome. But just to have someone else who, like, I could talk about myself, and like they would listen and genuinely care, like things like that, that kind of was like the turning point of my first semester, where I didn't feel so alone and awkward and weird. And I think when things really started to get good, like I can really say I started to enjoy it. And like every day was different. Like there were some days where I was like, yeah, I got this under, like, down packed, this adult thing, this grad school thing, I got it. Me, like, I was made for this. And then there was other days just where I wanted to cry. I felt so small and so unprepared and just not ready. And so, yeah, this is gonna be very long, and like I didn't plan on anything I wanted to say. It's kind of just sitting down. I really wanted to talk about what grad school, my first semester of grad school, had been like. And all in all, I would say I would give it a 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Like I would do it again, just because in that, like, in this experience, I'm learning so much about myself every single day. And I'm so glad now that I have this platform to kind of express and like talk about these things, because not only do I feel like it could definitely help someone who's going through a similar situation, not just like, you know, going to grad school, but anyone who's doing something new in your life. I feel like having someone like me, a regular nobody, just to tell you, like, you know, you can do it. I understand like what it's like to be a little fish in a big ocean, and that's exactly what my first semester was. Me, a little fish in a big ocean of everything, finding my way and making an own path for myself and finding where I belong in my own niche in grad school. And one of the biggest thing I think it's time. It takes time. Like, I'm one of those people, I live for building connections with people. I love making connections. And so I think that was one of the hard parts about my first semester, was that building those connections where I didn't have like my normal dorm room setting or like everyday class settings, because I didn't have class that often. Making those connections was hard for me, and now that it just took time, and now I genuinely feel like I've made those connections and everything is good. I feel like next semester it's going to be a whole new Roslynn, one who is more confident and more strong and ready for anything that grad school has. Like, I'm ready, I can take it. And so yeah, now that I've rambled for like 20 minutes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, my name is Roslynn. I'm just a Disney princess trying to navigate my way through this big world. And I've decided to start this new thing, and you'll probably see it when you watch this video, as to start each video with a quote, because I'm one of those people who I love to surround myself by quotes. Right behind me, you can't see it, but I have 2 canvases that have quotes on them. I have a picture over there that says "make it happen," and so like I love to surround myself with mantras and quotes to just kind of give me that little push. And so I think that's how I'm going to start each of my videos. So again, thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Join the friendship. Let's take this journey together. Click the little bell so you can know when I upload. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And even if you didn't like it, give us a thumbs up, because, you know, we all go through shit. It happens. Give it a thumbs up. And that's all I gotta say. Bye.